Hello, welcome back to Hunter Tuned. Today I'm going to get some tuning done on the RSX here. This car is on a Honda K Pro with the adapter for the 05-06 years. This car is a 2006 Acura RSX, and it has a I think it's a CX Racing kit, I'm not exactly sure, and it's got a 35R-ish size turbo. It is just like a basic Chinese turbo. Has a 3-inch up pipe that I made. We did a couple other little things on this car to tidy up to get it ready to tune. And one of the things that I did do right away is I got a set of spark plugs for it, because the factory heat range plugs are the 7s, and we bumped it up right to a 9. So this is the part number spark plug that I threw in there. It's a BKR9EIX, which is the Iridium. And I also inspected the wastegate, because the wastegate spring that was in there was the tile blue, I believe, and this thing is super stiff. So I wanted to throw a smaller spring in there to start, because we don't want to have the boost run away right away, and I would rather have a smaller spring in the wastegate and be able to control it with the Honda 4-port solenoid here to increase the boost instead of having the spring. So that way we can run low boost in, first and second gear or whatever, and then third and fourth we can ram in all the power, or tune it, just a little bit better with that solenoid there instead of the spring. Another thing that I did do on this car is we did get the all the regular pump gas drained out of it. I took the line off the regulator, ran the car out of gas, and we filled it up with E85. So we're going to be tuning this thing on E85. It just adds a little bit of safety. This power, we could probably make 300-400 horsepower pretty easy on this car with pump gas, but just to play it safe, I always like to run E85. It's so readily available here, and it's 96 cents a gallon right now. Can't beat it. Also, we did fix the vacuum leak here on the K-tuned adapter. So we're going to get to that in a second, guys. I did want to talk to you a little bit about some plans for my Mustang. I do want to get some advice possibly on what to get for the Fox. I already got pretty much all my rear stuff figured out. So I got the relocated uppers from Team Z with the solid bushings. We got those installed, and this stuff fits pretty good. And we're going to run the adjustable uppers and the adjustable lowers from Team Z in the rear end. I have the double adjustable Viking shocks in the back, and I have just a set of the Eibach drag springs. The front end, I have the same Eibach drag springs with a couple coils cut off so I could fit them with the stock K-member. And then I have just a set of 90-10 Lakewood drag struts in the front. And like I said, I want to order some parts for the front end of this car. Since I got all the rear stuff, I kind of want to do the front end too. And I was debating on what K-member to buy that would keep the factory 5.0 location motor mounts. That is one thing that I'm debating on and curious about. And UPR sells a kit with the K-member, tubular A-arms, and coilovers as well. So I feel like I could do that whole kit. It's a pretty decent price, I feel like, for the K-member, the tubular arms, and the coilovers. There might even be some other stuff that comes with that kit. I'm not 100% sure. I know Eric Orange Built actually just started doing some of this on his Mustang too. And Jack Roberts has been a great inspiration to me, and I've been trying to maybe take a lot of his advice, because he has one of the fastest, I think he is the fastest stock bottom end 4.8 in the world. And he actually just started a YouTube channel that you guys really need to go check out. It's just Squirrel Tuned, I believe, is his YouTube channel. And he just passed 1,000 subscribers, and that guy just throws out awesome information. And anybody that's trying to go fast with an LS or rear-wheel drive car, or Mustangs or whatever, anything with an LS, he is clearly doing something right. Going 7s with a stock bottom end 4.8. So go check out Jack Roberts' channel. I may try to link it down in the description for you guys. Go show him some love and give him some support, because that guy has helped me out tremendously. Just kind of helping me out with my combo and figuring out what parts I need to get for my car too. So yeah, go check him out. tuning on this thing yet. We just switched it over to E85, and really all I did was change the injector size and iron out small things. I haven't really picked into the tune too much yet. Alright guys, I don't know quite where I left off, but I took a break yesterday, kind of went home, cleared my head a little bit. This thing was just kind of giving me weird issues, and I just needed a breather for a day. So I came back out here today, obviously, and everything is going very well, and I'm going to start tuning on this K-Series a little bit. I've already got my cam angles tuned for 0 degrees and 10 degrees, and next I'm going to do the 20 degree cam angle, and then after that we're going to do 30 degrees and 40 degrees. I don't think I'm going to go over 40, and I don't even know if I'm going to tune 40 degrees. We'll see how much difference it will make if we put more cam angle in it, if we can stand up the bottom end a little bit farther. But just at comparison, guys, off camera I was tuning 0 degrees and 10 degrees cam angle. I had the same amount of ignition in 0 degree, 10 degree, 20 degree, 30 degree. I have all the ignition tables the same. And all I'm doing is changing the table. So right now I did 10 degrees, so I have the whole table at 10 degrees. And while it's at 10 degrees, I'm tuning the fuel map for 10 degrees. And then the fuel map on the VTEC side for 10 degrees. And the ignition is staying the same on all of the cam angles. That's what I'm doing. So next, I'm going to change here. We're going to go to 20 degrees, and we're going to tune these fuel maps. And then once these fuel maps are tuned, we will do a dyno run with 20 degrees cam angle in it, in all the tables. We'll do another run, and I'm labeling each run 0 degree, 10 degree, 20 degree, 30 degree on the dyno. Hopefully this makes sense. And then after I get all my fuel tables dialed in, we will be able to see where made the most power at what RPM at what cam angle. So like I said, so you guys can see I've done 2 dyno runs. Now first one was at 0 degrees cam angle, and that is the blue line. So the blue line here at 0 degrees would probably carry out and make more power way up here at like 10,000 RPM or so. But since we're only going to rev this car 9,000 or 8,800, that's where we're going to tune it up to. So with the same limiter, 8,800, we're going to do 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and paint the curves for each one. And I'm assuming eventually when we get up to like 30 degrees or so, it's going to make more power down here, but it's going to fade up top. And that's where we're going to have to bring in these 10 degree spots, or 20 degree, whatever ends up making more power. And we're just going to have to kind of use the dyno curves, and once they're all tuned, we can kind of set our cam angle tables to wherever the car made the most power at what RPM. So that's what I'm doing. It's a very time consuming process, and I don't really want to bore you guys too much. I know you guys probably wouldn't be bored, but I'm just trying to focus. I haven't done a whole lot of K-Series stuff, and I am just, I'm kind of learning as I go here and making sure everything is going to be perfect for this car. And man, so far this thing is just going to it's going to rip. So I'm very excited, and I may bring you along in the car with the headband and do some more fuel tuning on 20 degrees. So that's my next step. Alright, so we are going to go to our cam angles again, and we are going to make these all 20 degrees. Then we're going to go to VTEC cam angle. We're also going to make that 20 degrees. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my 10 degree table and I'm going to copy it to my 20 degree table. And the same thing for the VTEC side. 10 degree, what we just already tuned, I'm going to copy that and put it to our 20 degree. uploaded our change, and now we are going to go to our fuel on the low cam side, and we are going to turn VTEC at like 7,000 RPM just so we don't hit it, and we're going to tune 20 degrees cam angle up to like 6,000 RPM with no VTEC. So our air fuel currently at idle is right on the money. With the same fueling that I had in 10 degrees, it's still good for 20 here at idle. So now we're just gonna kind of roll into the gas here and take off from a dead stop. And we're gonna monitor the air fuel. We're looking pretty good. Cruising here. We're rich in here. Cruising, and you can see our air fuel is right on the money. So I'm going to do another start and stop. I actually might splash in another like 2% back into this. fifth gear from 2500. And I'm going to record my run, and wherever I lift off the gas, that's where the car is going lean. That's just a thing I can do when I don't have a data logger hooked into the ECU to verify my position on the map when I lift off the gas, that's an indicator of, okay, that spot is where it's starting to run lean. It actually seemed fairly good there. It was like a 12.5 or so. We'll give it a couple percent. We'll do one more little run. With no VTEC to make sure our fuel is around 11.8 or so. Wide open. Here we go. Looking good, looking good. Could probably trim out like 2% or so. Good there. And now on the VTEC side, I'm just gonna add in like 5% to the whole thing. And I'm going to turn VTEC on at 4,500 like I did on the other runs. So now VTEC is on. We'll monitor our air fuel with VTEC. It was a little lean right when it crossed over there, but it looked like it was leveling out. So I'm going to add some fuel in until 5,500. I'm going to add in like 7%. Because this cam angle is going to naturally want to make more power at lower RPM than it will up top. So that's why I'm adding in fuel at lower RPM, because I feel like from 5,500 and above, it's going to be all right. A dyno run as well. So the car is boost creeping a little bit more now that I have more cam angle in it. But all that looked really good, guys. Like I said, I spent quite a bit of time tuning the 0 and 10 degree maps. So we will have a lot better of a base to start with. So we're running about 6.9 pounds of boost until car gets above 7,000. RPM-ish. See what it did here. Oh wow, we picked up even more power everywhere on 20 degrees. So that is just telling me that this car is probably not going to want any less cam angle than 20 degrees, considering it's making more power. Even way up at the peak, it's making more power than it was at 10 degrees. So like I said, that's just telling me that this setup is not going to really want anything less than 20 degrees cam angle in it. So there's 20, guys. Next I'm probably going to do 30 and pick up when I'm done doing 30 degrees, and then we can compare all the different angles once I get them all tuned in. Alrighty guys, I just got done tuning the 30 degree cam angle, and now with the 30-degree angle, we are starting to see some diminishing power up at high RPM. But in the middle of the curve, we are making more power with 30 degrees angle. So I'm going to zoom in on this. So you guys can see here the purple line is 30 degrees and the green line is 20 degrees. Hopefully you can see it on my screen here. And we are making like 7 more wheel horsepower right in the middle there just by putting a little bit of angle in the middle. So pretty much what the dyno curve is telling me is I'm going to want to run, okay, so this is also up top. I'm going to show you guys. This is just the power difference up top. You can see versus RPM on the bottom here. So we are starting to lose power above 77,000-ish. You can see all the way up here, we're losing quite a bit. 322 versus 330, so it's an 8 horsepower loss with that 30-degree angle in at the high RPM. So what I'm going to do is it likes and it makes the most power on 20 degrees angle at high RPM. So I'm going to run 20 degrees up till 9,000, or from, you know, say 7,000 to 9,000, it's going to have 20 degrees. And then from 7,000 and below that, it's going to like 30 degrees. And I may blend a 25-degree angle in somewhere in between that, just to kind of make sure this thing is buttery smooth. Power curve. Smoother the power curve you can make, the happier the motor is going to be, and the happier everything's going to work and be more reliable, etc., etc. So this thing's making great power. This is still on 6 pounds of boost, 6.8 pounds of boost, and I think the max power we made was 331 horsepower, which is damn good for this thing. Especially just an eBay kit. Nothing too special. It is creeping about 2 pounds of boost way up at the top end. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to actually hop in the car now, and we are going to do some cam angle tuning on the laptop. All right. Okay, so now that we have 0 through 30 tuned, I don't really want to go above 30 degrees. It's really not doing much now above 30. We could go to 40 and maybe make a few more horsepower below in the lower RPM range, but the more cam angle you give it, the more likely it is for the valves to hit the pistons. So I'm going to play it safe and just tune up to 30 degrees. I don't really want to do 40 or 50 because I'm unsure of what cams are in this engine. I don't exactly know what, you know, are in there. And 30 is a good place to, you know, kind of a happy, safe spot to stop. So what I'm going to do is this thing actually ran really well with like 0 degrees in it at idle. So I'm going to put 0 cam angle in it at idle just because it's the throttle body setup on this thing. It just kind of idles weird. Like right now it's idling a little bit high. And just changing the cam angle at idle. And like I said, it's going to want 30 degrees pretty much everywhere below VTEC. So the whole low cam side I'm going to run at 30 degrees. And I'm going to cruise this thing at like 10 degrees or so. I think will be okay. And we'll like blend in a 20 here. And then on the VTEC side, we're going to run 30 everywhere up until, what did I say, like 6,000 or so. And then above that, we're going to run 20 the rest of the way up. And then above like 8,500, we might want 10 in it. Way up here, where we're not even going to be because the rev limiter is before this. But but it's probably going to want 15 or something here, and then 10,000 RPM is probably going to want 10. So we're slowly just going to pull back cam angle as RPM goes up, but it's just not going to do anything because we're not going to hit that spot of the map anyway. Alright, so now that I have that done, I'm going to update my changes, and then we are going to do a dyno run. And we might feed this thing a little ignition once we verify that this is going to make a good curve. Parameters. I'm going to lower VTEC down to 4200 to help get the turbo lit. I think that'll it'll like that. Man, this thing runs so good. Just cruises beautifully. All right, let's hit it with some juice here. We'll start recording on the laptop and on the dyno. Damn! This thing's riding. I did start getting a little lean up top now that I put all that cam angle and everything is happy. It is wanting more fuel at higher RPM and higher boost levels. So I'm gonna give it some fuel up here and up here. And we'll upload that change. And then also with my fuel changes is I'm going to give it 2 degrees pretty much overall on the VTEC side. I'm not going to touch the low cam. Low cam's pretty conservative, so I'm just going to add 2 degrees on the VTEC side, because considering we are only running 18 degrees at 8 pounds of boost on E85, so that is super safe and super conservative. So that might actually help the boost creep as well. The less timing you run actually makes the boost creep worse. So if we put more timing in it, the boost creep might go down a little. Oh yeah, this thing is jamming, guys. 361 horsepower on gate pressure. And that curve is awesome, guys. Look how flat the torque curve is. It is, like I said, up here, it is creeping a little bit, but everything else is just painting a beautiful picture, and I'm stoked about that. So this next run, I'm going to do nothing other than I splashed in a little fuel up top, so I might actually lose a little power from putting a little more fuel way up at the high RPM. But other than that, I'm gonna give it 2 degrees of timing and see what it does. Alright guys, let's go with some more timing. Sure shit, it lost boost when we put timing in it. So it definitely liked the ignition timing there. I think I was actually mentioning this in another video. If you put timing in an engine and it loses boost, it means it's happier. It means the motor's more efficient. So we did lose a little bit of power because it lost boost, but it was way happier and way safer air fuel everywhere. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna activate the boost controller and see if we can't get this thing to come up on boost a little bit. because this car does have a 4-port on it. We'll do a fixed duty cycle of like 20% to start, or 25 maybe, or 30. Solenoid activate at 1 pound, 0.5, fuck it. Okay, fixed duty cycle, just so we get our boost numbers here. Okay, so we have the controller on and a fixed duty cycle of 30%, and we're going to see what it does to our boost curve. We're going to make sure our boost cut is set. Should be under protection maybe. Yeah, boost cut right here is 15 pounds. So we're going to leave that there. And yeah, we're going to smack it now that the controller's turned on. Too much. Yeah, we hit our boost cut. That's why it's there. It's a safety. So we're gonna back this down to 25% on the boost controller. Actually, no, we're gonna change, instead of changing that, we're gonna go to maximum boost at 0% or maximum boost at 100%. This solenoid is either normally open or normally closed, and I'm going to assume it's normally closed instead of normally open. So we're just going to change that setting alone and update that and try it again. I don't know how much boost it made, but it did not run away that time. And it is making more boost. Not much more, but a little bit. 9 pounds instead of 6. So let's bump this up to like 35 and see if we can hold the fuel. Because we're going to run out of injector, I bet, pretty soon. So the controller is working, that's good. It'd probably take another 2 degrees of timing. We'll see what it did. So, like I said, guys, I got all my cam angle stuff tuned when the car was on wastegate pressure. Pretty much before doing the before adding boost or timing or anything like that, I wanted to make sure that my cam angles were going to be tuned. So now that the cam angles are tuned, we're adding boost and adding timing and hopefully making more power. And yes, sir, we are. So we're making about 380 horsepower to the tire. And we got a fat mid-range now, guys. That is awesome. We're getting rid of that boost creep and making the curve where it's peaking up there. We're standing all that up sooner with the boost controller. So that's amazing. This thing is just gonna shred. It's gonna shred. So I say we give it a little bit more on the controller. So I'm gonna give it some more fuel pretty much everywhere up here. I feel like we may be running out of injector. But I'm gonna see if we can hold the fuel. We'll go up to like 38. On there. And we're ready for another hit. I'm gonna put you guys outside for this one. Alright guys, that time it was actually breaking up ignition. But it's still making really good power in the middle. Alright guys, there's always a stopping point, right? And this thing's stopping point is it's out of fuel. So currently on the fuel map, I'll show you quick. I put more boost in this thing, around 11 pounds of boost, and I fattened the whole map way up on the higher boost ranges. And initially, when, you know, say before like 7,000 RPM, we were fat, like a 1040 air fuel. It was breaking spark up, and it cleared up top because it started getting leaner. So on the fuel map here, I have an ass load more fuel. You can see on the 2D graph right here. I have an ass load more fuel above like 7,500-ish RPM or 8,000 RPM. I have a bunch more fuel and it's still going lean, which is just telling me that the car's out of injector. The duty cycle's at 100%, and that's it. That's all we got, man. So what I'm gonna do is, I just got the boost turned down just a little bit. I turned it down from where it was. We're gonna be on kill with these with this setup. This thing, honestly, it's crazy that a bone stock K-Series engine can, you'll literally max out 1,000cc injector before you'll kill the motor. This thing could probably use a set of like 1300s or 1500s maybe, and if it had those, we could probably make 450 on my dyno, which I feel like my dyno on a turbo car reads 100 horsepower low, because normally on a set of thousands you can get about 500 wheel, and my dyno currently with that last pass, we made 395 wheel horsepower, and this thing's just jamming, guys. Let me tell you, it's making some stink. So but like I said, I'm not letting the number get into my head. I tell all my customers, don't let the number get in your head. I had that Integra here the other day that made 200 horsepower, and the guy said it was frickin' spinning third gear. And I showed you guys on one of the other clips too that my dyno does, you know, my dyno is a little bit anemic in the number department. It is a true, real wheel horsepower on this roller is what this spits out. I don't have any correction factors built into it, and I don't have any, you know, compensations for the tune or compensations for, you know, the dyno numbers. There's nothing correcting or adding additional power. So if we could add correction and get a little bit higher number, but why? The dyno's just a tool, and it helps me tune, and as you guys can see, it really helps when you're tuning cam angles. So It's pretty hard to tune these things on the street without a dyno, just because you need to see where it's picking up and where it's losing power in the cam angle department. So I'm going to do one more pass on this thing, and I'm going to fill it back up with ethanol. Make sure the blend is 100% ethanol in this thing, because there was like maybe a quarter gallon of pump gas left in it when I drained everything out. So that's what I'm going to do now. Make one more rip to make sure everything's good. Turn the boost down just a little bit, and I might put 1 degree of timing in it up top or something, just to see if it'll kind of manipulate what it just did on less boost. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know I had a blast tuning this RSX. It was a great time. And yeah, I can't wait for the customer to experience this thing, because it's going to be a ripper. Let me just tell you what. So I might still have to go get this car, take it to the alignment shop, and some other small things for the guy. But for the amount of stuff that I've done to this car compared to where it was when it got dropped off, this is a totally new car. And I'm super happy with how it came out. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it too, and hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit of a K-Series turbo car on the channel. So thanks for watching, guys. If you did like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and we will see you later. Have a great night and a better tomorrow.